Hi Darren, hope you're doing well. So the work is completed, and I'll give you the the dashboard explanation and how about the charts and everything shortly. And there's one thing which I think is pending is this chart you mentioned. I'll get it from there, but just sort of a query as to what the total value is eventually. So would you be able to have a look at it and let me know? And I'll start with the data sheet, and then we can go ahead further. So you can see that the data sheet has, as I mentioned, it's like per the requirement, where we have the pound and the rand. So the what I've also done here is give the total for that specific year um, in the December month. So if you kind of scroll down to your right, we have that here. In here, the remark section eventually is just for your addition. I mean, any comments or anything basically, and move on to the other bits. Like for example, you can see here that some of the columns in the sheet that you gave me is already filled. For example, for the current year, the rent that you have updated here has already been forecasted, but since we are dealing only with the actual data, I'll request you to enter the data as and when the month is over. Only then you will have a better grip on the data that you have here. I'll explain all these things shortly. So in case you wanted to do it like with an ease for that specific month, you can just go ahead and select that specific year, and then you'll have like only for those three things, and then you can just scroll to your left and enter the data uh, and all the other information with respect to the mortgage and everything right there. So this is only for the current year. So the previous years and everything, if you wanted to go ahead and see, we can still do that, and I'll explain that. So starting with the rent, as I said, this needs to be updated, and this, I think almost everything is the same with respect to what you have given with the the book. Let me just quickly open that. Yeah, so I think this is the thing that I have given. There's one more thing that you have given. So based on that, I have given the explanations. I'm sorry, the uh, addition of all these things right here. And okay, so move on to the mortgage and everything. Almost everything is look the same. Just one word of caution is just make sure that all the cells don't have a formula when you enter. So you may want to look at the formula bar. Just looking at it, and you'll have a formula. And if there is a formula, please don't enter the cell. It's not gonna, I mean, we don't have like too much of data to enter, just monthly ones, so you can easily do that, and so on. So that's just a suggestion. I thought I'll keep you posted. And moving on to the last section, which is the cost. This is a cost excluding all the the black cells, which is you know ec- which is eventually a cost in turn. So I wanted to go ahead and exclude the rent. So the first one is your income, that alone is excluded in here, and this one is the cost minus the rent. So that's what these two columns eventually see here. So there's one additional feature that I've actually given basically is a smart totals. Like for example, let's say these totals that you see here are like they will automatically filter and view it based on your filters. So for example, if you want to go ahead and see only for a specific month, you can just select, I'm sorry, specific property, you can just select that. All the totals in here will automatically change based on what you see. So basically it's, these totals are like, what you see is what you get on the totals itself. So if you wanted to go ahead and see only for a specific year, you can select that. the totals will automatically amend and give you the information. So you don't just have a dashboard, you can play around here as well. For example, if you want to have any extra mortgage or something that something like that, and all those things can be done from here itself. So that's the reason these are kind of a smart total. So if you remove all the what to say the filters, eventually you can go ahead and view as the whole picture, because that's what you see here. So that's what is updated eventually. So moving on to one last section in here, which is the conversion. I remember you saying that you wanted to enter it manually. For the time being, this part, like after the star in each of these rand converts from this section, the total, to the rand. Basically it looks from the list, which is this. So these are the conversions rate that I put for that specific year. So what would happen is in the data sheet, it looks for that specific year, which is coming from from here. And once that year matches, it takes the information from this list, and eventually it'll go ahead and allow you to calculate it. That's what is happening. So for some reason, if you don't want to do that and you want to update it with a manual thing, you can still do it directly by removing this part from the VLOOKUP and enter a number, and it'll still calculate it for you. But my suggestion is just keep it here, because if you edit any values here, all the things there will also get changed. So that's the perspective. This is just a gist of what it is, and I've taken this list from the xe.com. That's just a graph. If you want it, you can just delete that one. And let's say you wanted to go ahead and add new years and everything, you can just keep going and adding year. And of course month wouldn't add, because that's pretty much where it is. Properties, let's say you have more, you can just add it, and basically select it as how you do it in here. Eventually this particular section, the December, whenever you had a new thing, it'll just split and say that that ends up the new year automatically. So that's just a condition formatting that I've put in there. So hope it makes sense with the data. I'll move to the dashboard part of it. So you can see here, the the dashboard contains almost everything. So the reason why I started with the rent is that's where you would like to know what your comparison bits are, like from one year to another, let's say. And that's the reason I've given two graphs. And all these things, as I mentioned earlier, is a kind of a yeah what do I say a mode of understanding how the trend is eventually. So let's say you wanted to go ahead and see on a 2019, and which for 2019, let's say you wanted to go ahead and compare the this one let's say we want to compare to the previous year. That can also be done. Is one okay? So that's the thing that it's just for comparison purpose. So from one place to another, so what's the fluctuation and everything, and so on. So let me go ahead and see one more last thing. So which is um, one. I'm just trying to check for the data here. One moment. Okay, so moving to the other bits, starting with let's say you wanted to go ahead and see what is your rent on Burclose Street on a 2000 thing as of now. Remember, I told you these are the actuals, so you can compare that with Catherine's Way on 2020. You can still do that and see what is the fluctuations or the trends on the rent. So basically, these sort of filtering is available for you to go ahead and do it for almost anything that we have here. Starting moving on to the the rental total rental in the conversion. I remember you saying that you wanted to see what's the trend between the rand and the pound. So that's this is your rand and this is your pound. So you can see that the fluctuation in the market between the conversion has actually had some impact in your total pound, because the pound remained almost the same based on the amount, and for that the fluctuation of that is like 2016 had a you know almost like high number of, I mean less number of differences, and so on and so forth. Uh, so that's the thing. Again, you can do that for your specific property, and you can go ahead and see that as well. So moving on to the income, this is the cost. I'm sorry, I put it as cost, income minus cost. So that's like overall amount, and this again will eventually gives you that information. So that slicer serves for this too. And moving on to the cost, and what is the cost and cost percentage of that specific thing. Let's say you wanted to go ahead and see for that 2020 how much is the cost. So the percentage arranges itself so based on this. So total percentage, so if you add all these thing, it'll always be 100. So if you have more months, it'll automatically adjust and show you what is the percentage of contribution in cost between these two in here as well. So that's the thing. And again, as you said, you can go ahead and select the Close property here as well. Costing with the rental cost. So again, you can go ahead and see that for what property that you wanted to go ahead and check, and mortgage and the extra mortgage and the totals with respect to that. So you can do check here as well. This is a garage rental and everything. So to be honest, in the whole of the data, that almost like 10 years and plus, I saw only these are the ones which had good amount of variations onto it. There are few very little things like service charges like here and everything. If you want me to add, I will add it, but not too much of a fluctuation is there. But let me know if there's anything else like I need to add. So one thing which is eventually pending from my end is the mortgage. So once that's done, I'll add that up as well. Okay, so let me know if there's anything else I need to work on. I'll be happy to assist. Hope you like the dashboard. Once you confirm the final bit of say, we'll discuss on the budget. I think it'll still be on the lines that I mentioned, and we can go ahead further. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye bye.